Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you've had a lovely week since I last podcasted. I first off wanted to say a big apology to everyone who has written on the boards or written to me this week. I am so far behind. I've been on Ravelry barely at all this week because my son started school on Monday, and normally, it'd be crazy, busy, hectic with that, but his school is a brand new school, and by brand new, I don't just mean to him, I mean, there have not been kids in this school ever. I mean, the playground is not even finished being built, and so it is a madhouse, and I am exhausted. By the end of the day, it's like our kid's asleep, clunk, my head is hitting the pillow right away afterwards, and normally I reply to all my Ravelry messages and stuff in the evening. I'll knit a row, reply to something, knit a row, reply to something, but I have not been knitting in the evening or doing any of that because I've been so tired. He had his come and get your welcome pack and everything for the school before it started, I think late last week, and on Thursday or Friday, and it was a madhouse. It's a new school, and I am all for, young people doing stuff, but the principal of this school is younger than I am, and I'm pretty young, and I didn't know you could become a principal this young. All of the teachers there that I saw and that I interacted with had only been teaching 1 year or less, we're right out of college, and so nobody really had any clue what was going on. There were a lot of bow ties and sweater vests and all kinds of very hipster. It's the most hipster school I've ever seen, which, I mean, it's kind of adorable, all the young girls in their very cute dresses and the boys with their bow ties and the mustaches and everything. But in terms of getting stuff done, they could use some older generation wisdom, because I definitely believe that I have a lot to learn from people who've been doing it for years and years and years and are pros at it, as opposed to it's your first year out of teaching and it's madhouse, the carpool line hours. The longest I've ever waited in a carpool line to get my child. I was thinking my car was going to overheat. And it also starts earlier than any other school that he's been at. So with all those combinations, I've just been falling asleep at night. And you might be able to tell, but my voice is gone. Last Sunday, thankfully I recorded the podcast last week, Saturday night with my husband, but last Sunday, because of all the rain we've been having, my allergies were acting up, and Sunday night, my voice went out. I tried to do a VKN on Monday night with friends, and my voice was not even this, it was squeaking. And so they were asking me questions, and they were saying, just nod, because I couldn't talk. My voice is still not okay, 100%. Maybe I started to get a voice where I could barely talk on Friday, which was unfortunate because I wanted to talk to my son a whole bunch about how school was going, but I was having to communicate in hand signals, and I holding up flashcards. How was your day? And I'm having some tea in my owl mug, and this is actually some David's tea that my friend Mandy, who's Mandy Pinecone Crafts, sent me a little while ago, a sample. And this is Pineapple Kona Pop, or it's Teavana, maybe, or maybe it's David's tea. It's probably David's tea. Maybe it's Teavana, I'm not sure. But it's on a Teavana label. So anyways, it's really good. And I have some honey in there because I need it for my throat and all kinds of things. So when I get my allergies really bad, I cough. And so my voice goes, and I don't sleep at night because of the coughing, or I don't sleep well, I'm restless. So that's been fun. But on to the big excitement. So Ravellenics finished last Sunday, and I have a finish. It's still so wet because I had all week I could have blocked it. Did I think of it? No. But today, while eating lunch, I was like, I should block my thing. And I didn't. I wasn't smart because I should have just not bothered with it and blocked it later to show you. But I was so happy with this. This is the Calla by Knitting Jumper Cables, and I bound off this poncho, huge, huge poncho. I bound it off during the closing ceremonies. So it's enormous. like on Ravelry, it says that the skeins contain 115 or 110 grams, but I had jumbo skeins apparently. Mine had 125. So while it says that I knit 800 yards, it's much more than that. And this thing is enormous, so I would put it on, but it's the turtleneck. I chose to do the turtleneck version. And this is brilliant. Well, it's a lot brighter than that purple. And this was going to go, you can kind of see the purple there, yeah. This was going to go to my dad's wife, but it bled like crazy when I was washing it. And so if I can get it to not bleed, then I will give it to her. If I can like do some citric acid soak or something. But if I can get it to not bleed, then I'll give it to her. And if it were just for me, I wouldn't care about the bleeding because I would know, oh, that bleeds, so don't wash it with other things. But if you're giving it to somebody, you don't want them to have to worry about that. But it's gorgeous yarn. And I knew, because it was so saturated, that it was probably going to bleed a little bit. But it's Brooks Farms Solo Silk, which is a 50-50 merino silk blend. And so the drape on this, it blocked out hugely. It's still very wet. And now my leg is all wet from having it sitting on it. But I was just so happy that I got that done because that was a big feat in 15 or 16 days to knit almost 900, 1,000 yards. And with that being done, my unofficial knitting for the summer amount, like my unofficial stash dash total was just over 10 meters, or I think it's meters, kilometers, meters, yeah, 10,000 meters. And so I was very happy to have that done. And I have, of course, a whole bunch of projects on the needles that are not done. So if I could have counted those and the knitting that I had done on those, it might have been even, well, it would have been a lot more. But I was just happy that I got that done. And so, since that was done, I allowed myself to cast on some stuff. But I'm going to show you first my oldest WIP, and this is in a 3 monkeys stitch and spin with a little open window so you can see what you're knitting. And I finished my first of the Driftwood socks for my husband. Now this may look a little small. That's because it is. My husband tried it on, and he's like, oh, they fit great. I'm like, show me where the heel is. And I was like, that's not fitting great. The heel is not supposed to be under the bottom of your heel. It's supposed to be up. So I should have knit about a 1/4 inch more. And when I get the other one done, I can put them on the sock blockers that Joe sent me. So that'll be great because I have sock blockers for my husband. But I love how this yarn striped, except it pooled a little bit right here. The last time you saw it, I hadn't turned the heel yet, or I was just about to turn the heel. So I did the cuff this week, and I love how it's striped here. But then it had color blocks on the cuff where the ribbing is. You have a blue color block, a red color block, and a giant gray one. And I meant completely to start the next one, but I didn't. I was just like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm too tired. And I was obsessed with something else, which you'll see in a minute. But the yarn I'm using for this is Lorna's laces in her Soulmate, which contains the Outlast, which is supposed to keep your feet cooler. And this is the bow tie colorway that was given to me by my first roommate at my very first knitting retreat. So that was what I worked on with the socks. Next, I'm trying to create a very cozy atmosphere here for myself since I'm a little under the weather. I have my fleece pullover. I have the bright lights aren't on. I have a candle, toasted marshmallow because fall is coming. It just feels very relaxing to be sitting here with my candle and my tea and my cozy sweater and the air conditioning on, which is so bad. But so last weekend on Sunday, before I lost my voice, I went with 2 friends to go cast on some matching socks. We'd all had the same colorway. And this is in my Bling Your String hot air balloon bag. My friend Erin. And this is I'm not going to hold up the card because it has her address on it and I don't want to have to edit that out again like I did last week. But it's from Rachel, who dyes for Nightowl Fibers. And so I knit. This is one of the mini socks I knit on during the carpool line. I just kind of picked different ones. But I knit that much. And these are for my husband. And this is the yarn. It's all caked up and nice, which is so addictive because you just want to get to the next stripe, to the next stripe. And I love, this is one of her older skeins when she first started dyeing, and my friends had newer ones, and theirs didn't have this, but I love it. It has blue speckles. You can see that my nails are blue from dyeing yarn this week, but blue speckles in the yarn, darker blue. My friends, it was just this solid color, but mine had these speckles in it, like I guess where the dye broke up. So I absolutely love that, and my friends thought it was really cool too. But that's been fun to knit on. These needles are longer than I normally like to use, but it was all I had because I'm running out of needles to cast on new sock whips, and I need to stop casting on new socks, but it's kind of a problem. So then the next thing is another sock whip. So I got such a sweet package in the mail. I'm going to say Port Hardy 1, I believe is her Ravelry name or her Instagram name. But she had won the gorgeous skein of Dove Dye Works, and she wanted to send me a little something. And I was just amazed and awed at this, and I had to cast it on right away. So she had gotten in on an AndreSue sock blank, and she sent me her leftovers, which was a ton she had left over. So this is her sock blank. And what I did with it was I went and I wanted to use it all up, I knew. So I folded the sock blank in half, and then I put a progress keeper marker right in the middle so that when I got to that, I knew that I had gotten to the middle of the amount of yarn that I had. And I cast on some, just tiny bit, Roll City rollers. And I have never done this pattern before, but I thought this was the perfect amount of yarn for it. And I love how you're getting the little pops of pink. See? From the clouds. I just had to cast on because I haven't done a sock blank in a while. I have a whole bunch of Gail's art ones because I was in her club, and I love Gail's sock blanks. And Andy's are so beautiful, but I hadn't knit one in a while, so I had to cast them on because I sit something heavy on the sock blank, like my phone or a mug or anything I have near me, and I knit it, and since there's something heavy on the blank, it helps the yarn just pull off so easily from that. So I absolutely love it, and I love moving up my heavy object as I progress. And that isn't in a bag. I need to put it in a bag. It's just been sitting at my kitchen table. So when obsession strikes, because I cast on something new this week and became completely obsessed with it and didn't want to work on anything else, but I did. But it is in my Diana Couture Serena bag, proving that these bags can hold a massive amount of yarn. Oh, and I forgot to bring down, I forgot to bring down all the labels. This is what happens when you're running on no sleep. You can't be trusted to remember anything. This is in my Serena bag, which I normally use for 2-color shawl knitting, but why not 4-color shawl knitting? Because this week I cast on and went crazy about the exploration station. This is so, I'm not going to be able to get it all. This is huge. Like, this is a lot of knitting. I thought it was a lot, but then I looked at my stitch count on the row, and it was a ton. So it goes there all the way over to here. And I've finished the first section, and I'm onto the brioche. I just did a tiny bit of the brioche, and it was very good to know that I have not done brioche in years. And it was good to know that I had not forgotten. I looked at the directions that were given in the pattern for the Exploration Station by Stephen West, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that, and I just did it. And I'm pretty sure I'm doing it right. Time will tell, but yeah, so let me see if I can remember the colors that these are in. But you'll be seeing this again because there's no way I'm going to finish this as fast. So I'll tell them to you next time, the ones I can't remember, which is probably all of them. But, so, this blue, right up here, is some Hazel Knits. This white is I don't remember the Hazel Knits colorway, but I remember this. This is the Parthenon colorway by Fleur de Fiber. I don't remember the yarn company name, but it was done for House of Yarn in Nashville. It was a specific colorway because Nashville has the Parthenon, and I got that. You can kind of see in this bigger section the hints of blue within the white, and it's stunning. And then this is some, I'll show you the bigger part so you can see. This is some Savvy Skein, and it's so beautiful. And I don't remember the colorway, I'll tell you next time. And then, so sadly, this one down here, this beautiful one, I don't remember the name or the colorway. It's like Back Porch Knits or something. I will bring the tags next time I show this, and I will make sure I show you that. But it's gorgeous. And so I wanted something that went like this darker blue. And they all kind of tie in because you have the darker blue, you have the white with the blue, you have this purple with the navy hints and pops in it, which matches the other. And then you have this, which is like basically a lighter version of this. It has the purples, it has the blue, it has grays and stuff, but they're in lighter tones or different tones, more aqua rather than navy. And I am madly in love with this shawl. It's huge, and I don't really know how to show it to you, but I'm thinking, you can see all the ends here, that Stephen West must either A, not care about weaving in ends, or B, love weaving in ends, or C, maybe he doesn't weave in his own ends and somebody weaves in his ends for him because, man, there's always so many ends to weave in. But, yeah, I'm still not done weaving in all the ends on my doodler shawl. It's gorgeous, and I'm obsessed with it. I was like, just get another wedge done, just get another wedge done. Start the brioche. And so I started this on Monday because I missed having a shawl in the needles. I'd had my Ravellenics stuff working for so long. I hadn't had a shawl in the needles, and I missed it so much. Now that is all of my knitting. Spinning, let me show you. I took a picture for Instagram, but I am so close to being done. I will be done for next week. I am so close to being done on the loop bump that I am spinning for Amy, my friend Amy Loris, and it was part of the 1,000-member giveaway where you got to pick something and I would do it for you. So this is the loop bump. That's where I was starting off yesterday, but I've gotten a lot more done since then. But yeah, so I'm going to finish spinning that up, and I think I'll have it done in time for her birthday. And then after that, I will work on Lady M's socks, just going in order of who contacted me. So yeah, the loop bump is lots of fun right now. And it's my first ever loop bump. I've never spun one. And getting to the next color is very addictive. So in group news, and on Ravelry we have the BookishStitcher podcast. And I'm not going to go into a lot of group news right now because voice, not feeling great, want to go take a nap desperately. So I just wanted to announce the winners of the 2-year podiversary. So we had 2 winners for that, and that will be for a skein of, I will custom dye you a skein of yarn. So I'm going to look and see what bases you liked. If I have a base like that, I'll look at the colors that you like. I'm going to kind of look at your Ravelry page and then dye you up a special surprise skein of yarn that hopefully you will love. So the winners for that were post number 14, who is Ange in the East, and post number 95, who is RDOOSE, Ardoose. So you won. Contact me when you see this, and I will get started on dyeing your yarn for you. And so we have we have the short story thing going for August, but I'm going to review that next time because I don't know how much longer my voice will hold out. We have our book and yarn swap partner thing going up. Thank you so much, Irish, for getting all that together. And the sock needle experiment is wrapping up, so if you have anything to enter for that, make sure you do it pretty quickly. I'm still knitting on the Justina Lorikowska sweater, so you have a while longer for that. And then I think that's everything for group news. for enabling. Like I said, I got that wonderful sock blank leftovers, and then she also sent me some different teas, which I love, and then this really cool miniature glass fishing float, which is gorgeous, and I love the color green. And then I'm so excited about this. It's a bookmark, I believe. I'm going to use it as a bookmark. You Wood Treasures, and it's from Canada. I think all this stuff is from Canada. It's just really pretty. So thank you again for that lovely little package. I'm going to smell my candle again because it's just so... This is from Little Bubble on Etsy. She makes candles, and I went to a... she's my niece, so I can brag on her. I went to a arts fair thing, and she was selling there, and I got a candle. It was back earlier this year. But I really quickly wanted to ask you guys, since I had finished my Ravellenics project, I told myself that I was going to do something fun for September and cast on little things, like every day cast on something new, but cast on something little. And so that way I can still work on my older WIPs, but have like these little new things every day. And so I wanted to know from you guys, what is your favorite, done in a day or less, if even a couple hours would be great, project? So some kind of bracelet that you love to knit, a little stuffy, something that, a worsted weight hat, a bulky weight something. I would love to know if you write in that episode thread under the podcast group for this week what your favorite done really quickly project is. Not like a blanket squares, but something like actual project done. And so, yeah, I would love to know that. And then next week, my friend Heidi, who is the amazing and awesome dyer behind Undead Yarn, asked me last year sometime, late last year, late 2015, if I would go with her to Into the Wool because she is vending there and kind of help out with the booth and stuff like that. And I said, yes, of course, and it's a super cheap event to go to, so it is coming up, and I'm going, and I don't have to fly because she's driving me, and we're going to go see friends there and friends that I've never met in person, and so I'm very excited. And so next weekend I will be at Into the Wool, and so there will be enabling coming up, but next weekend I'm going to actually still be there, be driving home. So the podcast will be up next Sunday, but it will be a special pre-recorded thing. As you guys know, I take certain projects for events, retreats, festivals that are easy to knit on. So I'm not going to be taking brioche, for example, to this thing. So I'm going to have a couple new things, and I'm going to talk about those next Sunday in the pre-recorded video and what book I'm going to be bringing and stuff like that. So that'll be fun, and there will be an episode next Sunday, but it'll be pre-recorded just in case you were wondering. And then while I'm there, I plan to get a prize for the podcast and stuff like that, so that will be great. So now for the book this week. I don't know if I've reviewed this on the podcast yet, but I don't think I have. So it is by Haruki Murakami. You would think that now that I speak Japanese, I would know that. I'm probably getting it wrong. I think I'm getting his first name wrong because I's sound like E's in Japanese. Anyways, so this is Norwegian wood, and it is, so you can all sing along to the Beatles song now, because we know a lot of people that watch this podcast love to sing along to songs from when I did the Les Mis yarn update and people said they were singing along. I love that. But this is a book, basically it starts off about these three friends, and there is two guys and a girl, and one of the guys is dating the girl, and then the other guy is just kind of the best friend who hangs out with them. And the guy who's dating the girl, see if it says his name on the back. It's been a while since I've read this, and I'm not sure I remember. Okay, no, it doesn't say his name. But he was like the bright, shining star of the friend group, and he kills himself, and nobody ever expected it. And so then years later, the boy and the girl, the one that never dated, meet, and the girl's name is Toru, and the boy's name is Nako. And wait, the boy's name is Toru, and the girl's name is Nako. And so they meet, and they start to form they meet again, and they start to form a relationship and become friends. And Nako is really quiet and kind of introspective, and Toru is really serious college student. And so on the night that they finally get together, are together, they she has a mental breakdown and has to go away because I think it just brought up some past emotions from her boyfriend that had committed suicide. And so he kind of tries to get in touch with her, and she won't for the first time write to him or anything like that. She can't get in touch with her. And so he kind of goes about living his life, and he meets this other girl who I believe her name was Midori, which means green in Japanese. I love now that I know some Japanese. I love that I can pick up on those different things and know the Japanese words. But so they meet, and she is completely opposite of most girls. She's very liberated, very bold, very forceful, always says what's on her mind. She's not tactful. She's very, it says on the back, fiercely independent and sexually liberated. And so, sorry, it kind of goes between, he really has this deep love and connection for this girl, but she's in the mental institution. And then there's this other girl that kind of is capturing his and making him feel happy and free at this moment. So he's kind of torn between those two. And it's just a beautiful story of love and loss and the battles that we all have, that most of us have within ourselves, within our heads, and kind of figuring that all out and figuring our place in the world. And so I really enjoyed this. There is some sexual stuff that I didn't like, but I just skipped that. I always skip that in books because it's not really my thing, but it was really good, and I love Murakami's work. I think he's brilliant, and so I wanted to recommend this. It says it's vintage Murakami, most easily one of his most erotic novels, so maybe there was more stuff than I remember, but you can always skip that if you want to read it, or maybe that stuff doesn't bother you. But this is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, and I think that, it's kind of, I would say it's considered a classic, and I've talked about on this podcast multiple times that I am obsessed with the 60s. I was born in the mid-80s, but I've always had an obsession with the music from the 60s. This is the Beatles songs and Simon and Garfunkel, and I just have always loved the 60s, so this very much appealed to me, although I don't believe it takes place in the 60s. I believe it takes place more modern times, but I love this author, and I will read anything he writes. So there it is one last time. So that's all I have for this week. I'm going to go because I have to edit. My dear sweet husband will have to edit these clips in because some coughing stuff with my voice not wanting to last for a whole half hour of talking. But I'm going to go and get all that started so you have most time to edit that up. But until next week, I hope you have a wonderful week and you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye guys.